Welcome back to Focal Figures, where today I'm going to be opening up a Facebook raffle win that isn't WWF Hasbro.
Envy is my sin.
Oh, what's in the box?
Not till you give me the
What's in
gun.
the fucking box?
Give me the gun. He just told you.
As I said, not WWF Hasbro this time. My second to main interest in vintage figure collecting is definitely Turtles, definitely Ninja Turtles. But it's a distant second behind WWF Hasbro, behind the wrestling figs. So it's something I still maintain an interest in. I'm still in a few Facebook groups for turtle collectors, and to be honest, the reason that this is the first, it's not my first win, it's not my first raffle win, because I have won NECA Turtles in raffles on Facebook before, but this is my first vintage Playmates raffle win on Facebook, in a Turtles group on Facebook. And probably the reason for that is I just don't enter as many as I do with the Hasbro guys with the WWF figures. But I do sort of semi-regularly enter them. So the group is called the TMNT UK/Europe Waffle House. It's almost like a subsidiary of the other group, which is like unofficial, I think it's unofficial TMNT UK collectors buy sell trade. It's basically like a Turtles collectors group, but I think there's a lot of sort of common admins in that group that are also admins in the what they call the Waffle House. I initially thought, when I saw that they were calling it the Waffle Group, I thought this was like because there's a few Waffle Houses in Turtle groups, which is basically like what they call raffles, some in the States, some in the UK, and some in Europe. And I thought this was like just a really badly done joke, like waffle, raffle, waffle. I thought it was like a pun that just didn't really work. But then I realised I think there's a reason for it. I think it's because Facebook doesn't like raffles. I don't think it likes seeing the word raffle. So I think that's like a way around it. It's calling it a waffle rather than a raffle. I think PayPal's the same. They like to have raffles referenced either. So maybe it isn't a bad pun. Maybe it is actually a necessary thing to have, just so you don't get stung by Facebook. So yeah, as I say, in the Turtles UK Europe Waffle House group, it was another member of the group that put this item up for raffle/waffle. His name is Sam. I think it's Sam Marshalsey is his name. So shout out to him for this raffle prize. And yeah, let's get it opened up and have a look at exactly what it is. I've done a little bit of pre-butchering of the box to try and get the postage labels off, because Sam had both my address and his name and address as the sender fairly visible on the box. So I have done a little bit of, God, that is taped up like triple, quadruple tape down this thing. Yeah, I have done a little bit of work to try and get those off beforehand. There we go. And that is some strong tapage going on there, Sam. Feels like there's like a good 4 or 5 layers of tape I'm having to cut through there. Got there. It's probably just because the box has been used so many times. Tape on top of tape on top of tape. So, like I say, it is a Playmates turtle. No, I mean my Turtles collecting, if anyone's seen any of my Turtles videos, if anyone's seen any of my Turtle videos even, I'm kind of sticking to the older ones, the original ones, the 1980 and 1989 releases. Those are the ones I'm trying to get. This isn't one of them, but it's Playmates, it's vintage, and always worth having. So this is, I'm going to have to take bubble wrap off, I don't think I'll be able to make that out. This is the Star Trek crossover Leonardo, Captain Leonardo. So Leonardo is Captain Kirk, just as my neighbour's dogs start to kick off. Leonardo as Captain Kirk. Pretty interesting figure line. This, I think, is probably one of the original crossovers, because Turtles now you get crossovers with all sorts of lines. You know, obviously there's the WWF or WWE Turtle crossovers and Ghostbusters crossovers, but this, I think, this is probably one of the first, if not the first time, that they crossed over the lines. Reason for it being that Playmates had the Star Trek license as well at the time in the 90s, so it was a fairly easy one to do, I think. You didn't have to get any sort of additional permissions or anything. They had both licenses and they could do the crossover, no bother. It's quite a good card though. It is quite a small crease down that corner, a few little kind of bits of edgeware here and there. It's unpunched, so it's a J hook, but it does have the insert bit still there. Bubble looks pretty good. Turtles bubbles are hit or miss because they're so big and they are almost like they're so like sort of big and chunky that they almost just attract damage. They're like magnet for damage, like dents and scuffs and dings and stuff. But it doesn't look like there's too many. There's nothing really major sticking out about the bubble. That stickers there still in front. But yeah, pretty cool figure. So I do actually have. I mean, my intention is not to keep this because, as I say, I'm not collecting turtles past into the 90s. I'm keeping 88 and 89 as my kind of cut off. Although there are a few turtles figures that I really like that go beyond that, like Mondo Gecko, for example. I think his first release was in 1990, so I might have to revise that if a good one comes up. Monty Moose is another one I'd quite like to get, and he's later on in the line. But generally speaking, I'm not keeping figures that were released as late on as this. So this one came out in 1994. Yes, this is well into the 90s when this one came out. But I do have a few turtles that I'm about to send off to the graders. I've got a box of like 3 or 4 mint on card turtles that I'm going to get graded, and then try and either straight up swap them, like trade them for ones that I want, or sell them on so I can fund the purchase of the earlier release ones from the 80s. But this one should grade pretty high, I think. I mean, I don't think it would be like a 90 grade. I don't think it'd be like a perfect grade, but there's no major damage to speak of. Slight curve to the card, I think. Slight bit of warp, if you excuse the Star Trek pun. But slight bit of curving to the card, which might affect it. But generally speaking, it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty sweet. So that's a good win, I think. And certainly something that, even though it's not something that's going to go into my collection long term, it's something that I should be able to swap or sell for something that I do want. So good fig to have. Anyway, so thanks very much to Sam and to the TMNT UK Europe Waffle House for letting me win this prize. Yeah, so short and sweet, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed that, like, share, subscribe, comment. Check out the TMNT Collectors Group on Facebook. Stay safe. We'll speak soon.